What happens when a couple of friends deep dive into silly Star Wars thoughts and questions you never knew you needed answered?
Do you think that Shmi and Qui-Gon did the Funky Town dance?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Oh, yeah. 100% that was her being like, come on, let's go to bed, you know?
She was coming to invite us.
Yeah.
Join us for some casual conversation on the Cantina Chat podcast featuring Jordan and Sean.
All right, thanks for joining us today on another episode of the Cantina Chat podcast. As always, we're joined here today with the Jedi Jester Jordan. How you doing, man?
Hey, how you doing over there?
Oh, doing good, buddy.
That's
Thank you,
good.
man.
Yeah,
I like that. Y'all know me as the friendly neighborhood Sith, also known as Sean. We don't have our Force Ghost on the coast with us. She's here with us in spirit.
Force Ghost.
Yeah, Force Ghost.
Oh, wow.
He gets it. Should be pretty good, though. We've got a nice slate of things lined up for us today. We've got the review, of course, of the Acolyte episode that we just watched, so you'll be able to get fresh opinions on that. Kind of a banger of an episode, which is great. We're going to try a little game, and then, of course, we'll get into a neat, unique draft idea that we'll be doing. So wanted to turn it over to you right away to ask. We just finished watching episode 7 of the Acolyte. This one's called Choice.
Yep.
Kind of a crazy one. What are your thoughts on this bad boy?
It was crazy. I liked it. Again, some things, me and you both were kind of like, well, why didn't they do this? You know, one of the big things was when Soul got up to the
like the catwalk bridge thing where the two...
No, it was the one where he got to the wall.
Oh, way before that.
And
you
were like, oh, he's gonna force jump, and then he starts crawling up it like a toddler.
Slowly crawling up a mountain instead of using his amazing force capabilities.
Right. You know,
whatever.
but I mean, there's some nitpicky things in there. But
why don't we never see force jump and force speed anymore?
not since the
Phantom Menace, right?
No, we saw Anakin force jumped off of to get to Obi-Wan on the high ground.
Oh, in episode 3.
Episode 2.
They did it like while on Mustafar, like throughout that whole fight. They were doing like weird force jumps and stuff, and
did we see it?
Tarzan swinging around. In episode 2, I just don't remember. And we definitely never see speed again. When Qui-Gon and Padawan Obi-Wan flew away in Phantom Menace, we never see him use speed.
Yeah, no.
That's crazy.
It is.
But anyway, I got us off track.
Well,
sorry.
so I did say now that I'm thinking about it, that we're talking about it, him force jump. That's a big wall.
It was.
That's a heck of a force jump.
But I could tell you, if I had the ability to do that, I'd use it to help me rock climb.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I'd be like going from rock to rock or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that guy scaled a whole mountain. Slowly.
Slowly. Very slowly. Think about the time he could have saved.
I definitely
No. But it was a good episode. Like there was a lot that was going on. And it's the stuff that we talked about way prior.
We
to
finally
this
got
episode.
a lot of the answers that we've had this whole time,
Yep.
that was the whole point of this
Every single episode since episode 3, which was the first flashback, which we only had 4 episodes now. But every single episode, we're like, we're going to get another flashback, and we didn't.
Yeah.
We're getting a flashback, and we didn't. Then we're like, we're getting a flashback, and we didn't. But we finally got it, and we saw the whole story play out by what actually happened.
Yeah.
And we saw just how strong
Anastasia, the mother,
is, which from what we saw in the beginning in episode 3, when she first, I guess, possessed Torben,
right.
We only saw his eyes go black, and he was just, like kneeling there or whatever, looking up, and we were like, oh, he's been possessed. He's in like a weird trance now. In this episode, we saw exactly what happened, how she was in his head and walking around and feeding him all this information, and just really playing with his thoughts and what he absolutely wanted.
What a cool way!
And that's how she got into her head. It was like she was in his head initially, like originally, but for her to do the whole blackout thing, basically it was like he had to give her the okay.
Right.
And for him to say okay was for her to be like, tell me what you want. He's like, I want to go to Coruscant. She's like, okay, well, here you go. And it wasn't Coruscant, but we saw that, which was pretty wild.
It was, and it also, like, to me, it emphasized even more that she was stronger than we may have even thought. Because when you and I had our impressions on episode 3 to begin with, we were like, man, she was really strong. She seemed to do that just on a whim, but not even realizing that not only did she do that really casually, granted he was the Padawan and his mind wasn't, fortified yet, whatever. Yeah. But she did that while having full-on conversations with the other Jedi Master and stuff in the room, and then talking to Osha and everybody as that whole situation was going on.
She was in his head that entire confrontation between the Jedi and them.
What did you think about the way they showed like their almost vampire-like mist transformation sort of thing, where they were like kind of teleporting around?
It was crazy. It was different. I don't think we've ever seen anything like that. Even the Night Sisters, I don't
Reminded
think
me
we
a
ever saw
lot
them
of
do
like
that.
wraiths and vampires, like a very ghostly kind of situation.
Yes,
Really
I agree.
Interesting.
It was different. It was cool. It was creepy.
It was. It was
And
a
then
perfect.
I definitely would have done what Soul did.
You get scared, right? Like,
yeah,
what's
you
she
don't
doing?
know. I mean, you don't know what she's doing. It's magic that I'm assuming that you have never seen before.
Right.
And it's like,
you don't know
if she's
going
to attack or what.
Yeah.
But she goes into this dark mist, and then Soul takes his lightsaber and stabs into the mist, and ends up killing her.
Right.
And me and you talked immediately after, and we were like, it's crazy that like he could kill her through that. Like me and you both thought he was gonna miss. Like he would slice through it, nothing would happen.
Just missed.
But the way I see it is like that black misty smoke was all in that one area, and it was slowly creeping around. Mm-hmm. So it was like her body was truly still, obviously was still there, but her body was truly still there in that.
She hadn't had time to like go over to whatever her true objective was at that moment.
Right.
But it was very odd the way all that happened. And then if you look close, you can see that right when she starts that, May is standing there, help me, mama. And you see like some of that mist starting on her arm as well. And it's kind of coming around to form. And I don't really truly know what the goal was there. What do you think that Anasea was trying to do as May walked in the room saying, help me, mama?
So the only thing that would make sense to me, and the reason is because what she says to Soul after he stabs through her, May comes out, help me. The Zabrak mother is already gung ho about combating against the Jedi now. She doesn't care, and Mother Anasea was very like, we're gonna let Osha go, we're gonna do this, and I don't want any trouble, I just want peace. And from the get-go, the Zabrak mother was like, no, we're not doing that. That's crazy. And then here, she, Mother Anasea was in the council room for the witches. And she was talking to him, and everybody's like, no, we can't let the kids go, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, well, it's what she wants. She made up her mind while the Zabrak mother was outside. And she was like, everybody gather your weapons. It was it was a split amongst the leaders now at this point. One side was like, we're going to let this happen. We're going to go through here, and it's just going to play out, and everything's going to be fine. And this side's like, nope, we're going to fight, and we're going to hold our people. Yeah. So, I completely lost my train of thought of what I was going to earlier.
But Anasea doing that for May.
Right. I think what she was trying to do was, because the Zabrak mother was ready to fight and just end it all, basically, she was going to try to get May and take May away. She was going to, I guess like evaporate or whatever, and grab a hold of May and take her in the same thing, and get her out before this big fight breaks out between the witches and the Jedi.
Especially because she tells Soul, I was going to let you have Osha.
Exactly.
Because it was Osha's wish.
Yeah.
She chose
As she's dying, she's telling Soul this. Yeah. And so that's like what makes me think.
Goal was to get May, who had chosen to stay with the witches, and get her safe from that situation from her point of view.
Correct. Whether it be deeper into the which we found out it was an old mining place. Whether it's to get her further into that building or just to get her away from there in general, we don't know, because obviously we can't see it play out now.
Interesting bit of side note how that episode started with the flashback and Torben being kind of a bratty, unlearned, untrained,
a very young Padawan,
very young and inexperienced, and he was sick of being there. They had been there for 7 weeks, he said.
Yep.
They were searching for life. They hadn't found any life and all this stuff. And the whole thing that prompted that was a hyperspace disaster, she said.
She said 100 years ago. 100 years prior to this episode.
That caused there to no longer be hyperspace routes to this particular planet, which meant that they classified the planet as lifeless. But those ruins and mining equipment on the buildings indicated that obviously prior to those
there was some sort of life, right?
So it's really interesting. They thought that there was nothing there. It was a lifeless, dead planet. But we got to see that special tree that they had, them. The crazy bit that we now seem to think that there's a vergence in the Force that seems to be what they're calling May and Osha.
Yes.
There's still a bit of mystery surrounding that. But obviously we've heard this phrasing before.
Yeah, we heard it when Qui-Gon initially took Anakin in Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, took him to the Council to try to show the Council this is how strong this boy is.
Yeah, he said.
They said I found a virgin.
He said I found a virgin in the Force, and they said surrounding a person.
Yes.
And they were like,
He's
"Whoa,
like,
surrounding this boy."
Yes.
So then all of a sudden that led them immediately to know about this prophecy and him being. You think he's the chosen one? And he's
Right.
like, I don't presume. So that whole thing was really interesting because the only time we've ever heard that, to my knowledge, was that moment.
For the chosen one.
And now we're saying they were looking for a virgin, supposedly surrounding a thing or a place. They didn't think it could happen to a person because they didn't say that.
Right.
Or they just withheld that information. But they think that virgins can also create life.
Right.
Seems like the Jedi and the High Republic might have encountered a virgins before. They were pretty aware of what it was.
I don't know.
But never surrounding a person.
My thing is, I don't know if it's the fact that they have encountered something like this before, or if it's the fact of the prophecy and however long the prophecy of the chosen one has been around, assuming thousands of years.
Right. They could be looking for it at this moment.
They're always on the look,
And the High Republic back then was sending people out. Like you said, when we watched the show, it's very reminiscent of like Star Trek away teams.
Right.
They had them down on the planet scanning for life. They had metal detectors.
Well, they were taking
things.
stuff, putting it in the science box, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That was a very Star Trek-y feel for me too. Yeah. It was weird. We've never seen that before.
I don't think we've seen anything like that in Star Wars.
Usually they have
like
scanners on the ship.
Stuff.
You know what I mean? They're like scanning the planet, whatever.
Uh-huh.
Which
is that a sign of the technology being that much older from what we're aware of? That like they didn't have full planet scanning capabilities to be like, oh, there's a whole village of witches down there.
For me,
or were they having some kind of counter technology that was hiding them? Because the witches knew about the Jedi before they did.
Yes, and what we learned about that in Episode 3, they're like, there are Jedi in a camp.
And they keep getting a little closer on their scoutings. 7 weeks they were there before they discovered them.
That's what you brought up too, was the fact of their technology, of how they didn't how like the scanners on the ships when they came into the atmosphere or whatever, it didn't show any signs of life. And so it's like, or they didn't know of any signs of life, whatever. But it's like, okay, being 130 years prior to the Phantom Menace, I don't foresee their technology being that bad.
That much more outdated?
I don't see that.
That's crazy. So then the witches
they either
had something
themselves
to cloak themselves in some
and it
way.
could be the mining facility. It could be the
rock.
building that they're in. It could be super thick, or there's some sort of ore in it, whatever, and that's the reason. And that could be why the witches chose to be
outside.
there.
True, and I agree that could be a pretty good point. But then we have things like May and Osha when they leave the grounds of what we now know as this mining facility.
Right.
And they weren't allowed outside those walls, but sometimes they would explore out there anyway
Which
to play.
They did in the episode where Soul found them.
Right. But also, in that same episode, they're by this special tree, the poison tree, with the pretty yellow leaves.
Yeah.
And remember what they were torturing / playing with?
Those little
butterfly things.
Yeah.
So the Jedi couldn't find those they said lifeless.
The only thing that I could see that would make sense is their shuttle doesn't have that
capability of scanning
built
stuff
into
like
it.
that,
It
right?
might be something of.
That seems odd.
It does. It really does.
I think we're supposed to believe that like their technology doesn't allow them to do that at this stage. It seems weird.
It is very weird because, like I said, 130 years, and look at all the technology that we've heard of, right? In like books, comics, blah blah blah. To see. I don't see the technology being that out of date.
Changing really that quickly.
The only thing that I could see is that just their ship, their counselor ship, or whatever whatever you call it, the Jedi ship, whatever, it just isn't equipped with that. That's the only thing I could see. Maybe some other class
technology exists, but it's
is
expensive, and they don't put it on every ship.
Yeah, I don't know. But you would think that if they have it, they're going to put it on every single
of
Jedi
all
ship.
people, it would be like Jedi people who'd have it.
Exactly, especially with them going
in this
out.
era. They're
they're sending
Jedi scouting.
They're sending scouts out, and they're doing all these different planets. They're looking for stuff, blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, why don't they have it? It
seemed a little
it's very
odd,
weird.
Yeah.
But
they did really seem to indicate they needed boots on the ground. They needed physical.
Yeah.
They had those exact Star Trek looking like poles that stick up out of the ground that they would push buttons to the side and it would buzz up and stuff. So it was weird because it was just stuff we haven't seen in Star Wars before. So it was.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that we haven't seen in Star Wars before that we're seeing in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so
some of it I like, some of it I'm not the biggest fan of, but that's
Correct.
totally fine with me because I feel like that's all right. You're gonna get both of that.
Yeah. You're gonna have good. You're gonna have bad. That's what makes any show.
Yeah. For sure.
So that's why, like I said, I'm nitpicky. I nitpick little things out of it, but at the end of the day, I still like it. So like I still, there's things I see. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Did you? I'm curious if yours is the same as mine, but did you have a like specific moment that was your favorite moment in the show? I'm sure it's the same, right?
When Kilnaka got possessed, boy.
Oh my God!
And
Kilnaka?
we called that right at the beginning.
How cool was it that we were amped, we were disappointed, we didn't get to see Kilnaka fight
we wanted
earlier.
to see a Wookiee, a strong Wookiee, just devastate with a lightsaber,
and we were so right.
We were not disappointed.
Oh man!
Watching him hit clash lightsabers with Torben and then Soul, and watching
even
Torben
when they
went to block it and he got thrown on the ground.
Yeah,
we knew, and that's what me and you had talked about prior, was the fact
really
that
yeah.
you would have the brute strength of a Wookiee behind the Force, being strong in the Force to be a Jedi, to add on top of that, and so you're just, it's like getting hit with a wrecking ball. You know what I mean?
And this whole time I had been. Just guesswork, but assuming that Torben's messed up eye came from some kind of scuffle or fight.
Well, I thought it came
with one
from
of these witches, and I was like, somebody's gonna stab him, right in the eye or something, and we're gonna see that happen, or whatever. No, it was better.
He gets his eye busted by Kilnaka throwing him up against the wall 13 times.
Also explains a bit about why Kilnaka was so messed up when he was in them woods.
Right. He had all the symbols that he was like carving in or drawing in on his walls and stuff.
Why they were the same symbols they had.
Right. Yeah. He got possessed and for a long time. And the thing is too, and like when Torben got possessed, it was just by Mother Anastasia.
Right.
For Kilnaka to be possessed, it was all the witches that were in that council room. They were all lined up, all of them doing the same thing, a chant, and all their eyes were blacked out. Yeah. They were all inside Kilnaka's head. And so, it's like, so Mother Anastasia was strong enough to do that by herself, which, again, she was the mother of the witches. So it's like, okay, she's going to be that strong. Yeah. But it took 20 other witches to be able to just do one Jedi.
Right.
And even, when the Zabrak mother's voice was kind of like floating around after she did her vampire thing. She was like, what'd she say? Something about getting into their heads.
Yeah.
And Torben was like, I've fortified my thoughts, my mind. Right. And she goes, not you. And as soon as she said that, me and you both were like, oh, we knew what was going to happen. There's only one Jedi on the ground, besides Soul. But obviously, I had a feeling it wouldn't be Soul.
Yeah, of course.
And plus, too, there was like, after every episode, they released like a little like cinematic trailer, of like a bunch of different scenes,
Okay.
This is like 2 episodes ago. We saw Kilnaka and somebody else fighting. We didn't know who it was, and so it was like, so we're going to see Kilnaka fight, but we didn't know why.
Yeah, I think the trailer showed him spin around really quick or something, and it looked like he was fighting, looked like he was throwing somebody, or something along those lines.
Right.
But it was cut in such a way that we couldn't.
We had no idea.
Yeah.
But now we got it.
Yeah,
but as soon as she said that, me and you both were like, oh my goodness, and then here he comes,
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
But it was just crazy to me that it took 20 witches to get him.
Yeah.
And it only took 1 to get Torben, which granted, once again, Torben was a Padawan. He was weak-minded. He wanted to go home. So she knew that she could get into his mind.
She exploited his weakness.
She's also strong. So it's like, okay, it makes sense.
Now, do you think that the reason why the 20 witches, using that same exact parallel, right? These 20 roughly witches, they go in this trance. They are using their version of the Force, their dark magic, and they've possessed Kilnaka. Indara comes and saves the day.
Yes.
She uses her powers to cut this connection forcefully. That causes immediately all of those witches to die.
Yes.
Do you think if those witches, like Anastasia did the same thing with Torben, but she cut her connection herself willingly, and then he was totally fine, and she was totally fine.
Yes.
I wonder if it's a measure of strength that those 20 witches were going to die regardless because they invaded the mind of someone that was as strong as like a higher-up Jedi.
Right.
Or if this was because the connection was forcibly cut.
I think
they
it's,
didn't have a chance to like retreat, and so
Right.
their minds are just gone.
Right.
They're
It's kind of like their minds
they're
got
half
turned to
in
mush.
his still,
Right.
and that's why he's so strange even years later.
I think so. I think it's their power that, if you...
It didn't get
it's
a
hard to
chance
explain
to
because we've
return.
never seen that before. But I think it is that. I think it's because with all of their minds being melted into his at that point, and them invading his thoughts, controlling him, and then with Endara doing her force thing and just completely cutting off that whole connection, I do think that they didn't have, like, it's weird, they didn't have time for their
almost mind to come back to themselves.
Right, to come back to them and for them to be like, okay,
yeah.
right. I think it was like literally like it just kind of turned the entire process into just mush.
That's the visual that I got from it as well.
Or they became so weak.
Yeah,
from doing that,
from doing it with him.
Right, that it was just like, I would be weak too probably
if you did it with
a Wookiee, just any Wookiee.
Any Wookiee.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Huh.
We saw in the credits that it's the same guy who took over Peter Mayhew's version of Chewbacca when Peter died. Yeah. It's that same guy.
Yeah.
Who is doing this. And I probably should have knew that before, but I didn't even realize it until I read the credits. Yep. But that's pretty cool.
That's what you brought up there right at the end was that.
I know it's Eunice something, but I've forgotten his name.
Completely forgot.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. I've seen a bunch of his like behind the scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
When he was the one who did Chewie in the Han movie.
Yes.
Solo.
Yeah.
And
what was that movie called?
What's that movie with Han? He's all by himself. Solo.
Yeah, something like that.
But he's a really like a sweet person. Like when you see the interviews and stuff. So he's a cool guy.
That's cool. Okay.
But it was neat to see him still being used and stuff outside of just Chewbacca.
My sister met Peter Mayhew.
Really?
Yeah, in Disney one time.
Oh, that's so cool.
She got an autograph with him, and she said his hand was like your entire head would be gone. He was so big. Yeah, just massive.
Some of those behind the scenes on like the old DVDs where they're all in like the cockpit of the Falcon, and you see him like with the helmet off, you know, or the mask off, I should say.
Yeah.
And he still has like the black around his eyes and stuff because of the makeup. Oh man, it's crazy. That guy is so tall.
He is. I mean, he was massive, dude. It was crazy. But yeah, it was cool. She has a picture of him that's autographed and everything.
That's so
how
neat.
cool is that?
I love that.
Yeah. But yeah, no,
definitely favorite moment though, for sure.
Yeah. I completely agree. And watching Torben when the witches were shooting their arrows down at Torben.
He was doing great.
He was doing really good.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know, watching him.
His saber, there's a couple sabers, like his reminded me of Yord's a bit. That we saw earlier in the show, and I really like that, like almost like a burnt orange kind of color. Is really, really cool in this era. I like it quite a bit.
There's a lot of the lightsabers, like especially the hilts. I like the hilts a lot.
Yeah, we've had some very classy looking.
Yeah.
Shiny chrome kind of.
And we go back to the point where we talked about before about how the hilts, the emitters being burnt.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of cool. It's
the extra detail they put on that.
Yeah. I mean, then we talked about it before too, and then the same time we talked about it now. About like the like in all the other movies, their emitters aren't burnt, nothing like that, and it's because like we don't see flared emitters at all, and that could be a reason, or like the vent is like there's not enough vent because like you see lightsabers that have slits all around the emitter and stuff to like let the heat or whatever kind of come out.
Right.
So it's like maybe it's because of that, and so like they just after so many years they were like tweaking little things, and we're like, oh no, this is fine.
I'm really curious exactly what we're going to get in the future. You know, they're making that movie that's going to be about the origins of the Jedi.
Oh yeah.
Like the very original bit. And I wonder exactly how far back we're going, what exactly that means. But I know that like it's not canon information, so some of that could change. But I know that like the lightsaber itself, we wouldn't have it if it wasn't for the Sith, because they changed a lot about how the Jedi were using weapons, and they created like a different kind of emitter that made it like way more efficient and stuff. Because like in all the old comic books, they actually had like lightsabers, but the first ones had these weird like big power packs that they actually wore on their backs, and so they had a cable that went up and into the blade, and that's what powered it. So it's really bulky and not great for combat, you know.
Yeah.
But that was what like Jedi were using, and then Sith ended up developing something better, and Jedi took that technique, turned it into something more pure or whatever.
Right.
But I'm curious if we'll get any of that in the super old stuff, or if we're going to be so old there won't even be lightsaber. I don't have a clue.
It's hard telling. I don't know how they would go with it.
I
mean, I hope they go back far enough to where we learn how certain things were done and like made and whatever, and that's how we know it to be like that's how Jedi became now.
Right. I guess my question is like, is their explanation going to be like the first person who quote unquote discovered the Force? Or is it going to be,
like the
this
first
is
academy
us
or
organizing this religion academy thing, and we're called Jedi now.
Right.
And Force has always existed, good and bad. People,
I think it would be cool to see like the first Jedi, but then again, it would be like, it would just be one Jedi, just running around being like, oh, look what I can do now. So like, I don't know how they would do it.
Right.
And going that far back.
If they did that though, they could play a lot with not understanding the morality yet. And the same guy could be using great like force healing techniques and things we always see light side Jedi doing, but also lightning. But maybe like lightning for a good purpose or something. Right. I don't know. But like you could play with the things that seem like dark side and light side. Right. The same person doesn't understand what's good and what's bad yet, and then discovers that to create the school.
I think it would be cool, but I think they would have to have a really good writer. Whether it be like Dave Filoni or something like that.
And it's probably too complicated, too long, the story to
say.
Stuff into an action-packed movie. Right. It's probably not great.
Yeah, I think if they're going to do an origin story, they need to make sure that they get the right person to do it. And because if they take it, that right there will change everything that's canon that we know now. And it might not. They can keep it in the canon, what we know as canon now, and what we all love, and they could keep it that way. But they would have to be super careful, because if they overstep one thing, the entire canon for every single Star Wars thing will change, and that's not what we want. We've came close to a lot of things happening here, in recent shows, and even this show. There's things that are canon that have been tweaked a little bit. Yeah, and for sure. And granted, it sucks. But, I always say that, unfortunately, there's nothing that we as fans can do for that. No. I mean, it's going to get changed, and we either have to like it or we don't. Right. And it's like, okay, so you have to choose. For me, I love Star Wars, and anything Star Wars I'm going to watch and I'm going to enjoy. Am I going to nitpick? Of course I am. Yeah, because that's our job. We should. Exactly. But going so far back, like doing right now and tweaking a few little things, it doesn't really, it'll mess with some stuff, which it already has. But if you go that far back, everything we know and love can completely change compared to what we grew up with. And it's like, I understand that eventually will happen unless we start kind of doing different things. Right. But you can't change, like I said, one little mishap can change the entire Star Wars legacy. That's true. And we don't want that for the bad, obviously, of course. Yeah. So that's what scares me to go back that far.
I agree. You're right. To bring us, I guess, back into the Acolyte.
Yeah, let's go right back to where we're supposed to
be. We now officially have one more episode. Yeah. And this one was a flashback. Yeah. So May and Osha aren't even together. We didn't even get to see. This episode just started in the flashback. Yes. It didn't even say, "Here's Soul telling May." Right. My story, and then it goes into the flashback. So the next episode still might be Soul explaining what happened from his point of view. We don't know.
I don't know if that's how it's going to be. I think it'll be like him being the end of the story, and then she's going to say whatever she's going to say, whether she forgives Soul or whatever happens, and then we're going to go to Osha being with Chimera, and then we're going to see what's going on there. I don't know. It's been so back and forth with everything I've seen. I've seen that we're getting a season 2. I've seen that we're not getting a season 2. Huh. So it's very back and forth. Okay. I don't know what to believe yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything officially about
I don't foresee them putting this much information into the last episode.
There's not.
They would have to make a 2 to 3 hour episode to be able to put everything we need to know to be able to end the story where it needs to be ended.
Unless it's not satisfying.
Right.
I will say a couple of things that this flashback did officially do that we weren't 100% on how they were going to do was they've now told us everything from their point of view as far as like why each one of them felt super guilty about everything and why everything was rough and blah, blah, blah. But it did it in a way that explained to us that the Jedi they weren't really the bad guys. It was a whole bunch of series of unfortunate events.
It really was. It was like
bad thing after bad thing that led to this situation. Right. Of a guy trying to have the good intentions to help.
Well, that was the whole thing. Is Soul and even Torben said the same thing. Like, there's obviously something bad going on.
Right.
So, Soul followed the children, went there, blah blah blah, went into the building, the establishment, whatever, and was like sneaking around and learning all this stuff. Goes back and tells Indara like, hey, these are like some sort of witches. And Torben said Night Sisters, which was kind of cool.
That is
so they've
cool
been,
for a
which
couple
we knew
reasons,
they've been around for a long time anyway.
Right.
But it's kind of cool that like
they're definitely established enough here.
Yes.
That Indara knew not only who they were, but what they are all about.
Right.
She argued why they wouldn't be Night Sisters.
Right.
That was cool.
So that was cool that we got that.
Yep.
So anyway, so Soul, is all about, he sees the bad, what's happening, and then he finds out about the, I forgot what it's called now. The whole
like the Ascension.
The Ascension, thank you. Oh.
The ceremony thing.
Yes. So he found out about that, wanted to go in there and stop it. They all did. And then Dara, which you said, it seemed like she wanted to go alone. She didn't want to take everybody.
I know.
And Soul was like, no, we need to go in as a team. And me and you talked about that. And it was like, you were like, well, it would, and Dara wants to go alone to make sure things don't happen for the wrong. And then I was like, well, it makes sense though to go in as a team, because if you send 1 or 2 Jedi in there, it's a lot easier for 50 witches to kill 1 or 2 Jedi.
Right.
Compared to sending in your entire team just in case something happens. And so it's like, I understand what Soul was trying to get.
Yeah.
He was trying to do what he thought was right, what would be more safe and
it definitely
protective.
Provoked, like, everything that could have went wrong
Yeah.
in every way. An accidental fire. I mean, she started the fire on purpose. She wanted to burn the book. She didn't intend for that fire to
No,
do
she
what
freaked
it did.
out, and she was like shaking it, and then she just dropped it.
I do think a really key moment to this whole thing, though, is that although Osha was hidden from most of the story to know baby Osha, 8-year-old Osha, to know a lot of what the truth was to what happened, and technically still doesn't, because this is May that's getting the details filled in.
Yes.
But when May came out, May's the one that said, "Mama, help me," and although obviously it defeated him in the moment and he felt so bad and super guilty about it, he didn't even want to fight back, but May watched Soul kill her mom.
Yeah.
That's all it boils down to. It doesn't matter what intentions were or anything of that sort.
No, and that goes to the point of why May wanted to kill everybody.
She can never forgive Soul. So I don't know where we're going in the next episode, but that flashback now told me she wasn't in her right mind. She witnessed from her own eyes Soul killed her mom.
Yes.
So that's pretty rough. I don't see much vindication coming from this as far as like, oh, I forgive you. Because
I don't either, because it was like...
now. It's a different scale than what I thought.
Right.
I thought before that moment, there's a chance that Soul could say, here's what happened from our point of view, and, May might come around,
right.
And then you almost have that switcheroo thing where May's on the good guy's side and Osha's wearing the helmet on the bad guy's side.
Right.
But now I don't think that's going to happen, because May definitely is never
watched
gonna
it with her own eyes, watching Soul kill her mother.
Yeah, so nothing else matters.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I do think we're up for a doozy on the next one. Should be pretty amazing.
I'm hoping we get a good season ender. I hope it's not lame. I hope they don't leave us on a ridiculous, some weird cliffhanger,
an awful
something
cliffhanger.
like that. Like I said, there's so much that if they're not going to make a season 2, there's so much that they have to pack in.
I know.
If they're planning on making a season 2, which Simon, one of our buddies, he said today that he's pretty sure that they are making a season 2. That it
wouldn't surprise me.
Confirmed.
But if they use that as leverage to make a horrible cliffhanger ending, it's going to upset a lot of people, myself included.
I agree. I will be very unhappy if we get just I don't know what could happen for it to be a cliffhanger, but we've seen ridiculous cliffhangers,
Yeah, in some shows, and then it never comes to fruition.
Right.
Well, here's to hoping that doesn't happen, but that will probably be a pretty decent stopping spot for our first impressions on this episode. After immediately watching the episode, jumping straight in here. So we'll take a little quick break, and then we'll jump into a game.
Ooh.
All right. Thanks for joining us back in to the next section here of our podcast. We're going to be doing a new game. This we call Galactic Guess Who.
Oh.
Galactic Guess Who.
Whoa.
It's a lot like 21 Questions. This is a game that you and I used to just play all the time. So This is going to be something that we do kind of just for fun. We're not really going to be tracking points and that sort of thing, but we're hoping that the style of this is something that everybody can kind of play along with us.
Yep.
And I would say, why don't we go ahead and, as is tradition on our show, why don't you roll us a little chance cube there? Tell me what color you want, and we'll decide who's going to go first. Basically, we're going to pick a character.
Do you want to do both die and do that? It has to be.
No, I gave up on any kind of strategy. I'm just upset about it now.
Well, I'm going to pick blue.
You're going to pick blue.
Yeah.
It was red.
Oh my goodness.
Ladies and gentlemen,
we
Sean
found him. Oh.
Has his first win, his first victory.
How's it feel?
I feel like a new man.
Okay.
But as the friendly neighborhood Sith, I've been waiting patiently.
Okay.
Because it's what we do.
Yeah.
We wait for our time to shine.
Yeah.
So since I'm going first, I will pick a character. I've prepared a list of a few characters, so I've got my first one already. Yeah. And then you can ask me basically kind of like yes or no questions.
Okay.
And you're going to try to pick that character. If it seems like we're struggling a bit, we might give each other hints or that, here or there, but kind of just at discretion.
Yep.
So I've got the first one ready to go.
All right. Is it a human?
It is a human.
Okay. Is it male or female?
This character's female.
Female. Is it part of like the main group?
This character is part of a main group, sure.
Like the main characters like that we see throughout the show or movie or whatever?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it animated or live action?
This character has appeared in both.
In both?
Yes.
Huh.
Live action and animation.
And the prequels?
This character was in the prequels.
Prequels only?
Correct.
Okay, so Clone Wars would have been also... okay. Force sensitive?
This character is not force sensitive.
Okay. Did she have children?
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. This character certainly had children.
Was it 2 children?
This character had 2 very important
Was it a boy and a girl?
Who like each other a little too much sometimes?
A little too much when they get older? Weird. Did she die of sadness?
We just talked about in the Acolyte review segment, like how their technology sucked way back then and blah. But if you fast forward 120 years or whatever, that girl died from losing the will to live.
Yeah.
What the?
Huh. I don't know if you ever pay attention, but in episode 3, whenever Anakin... Oh, by the way, it's Padme.
Ding, 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 that's correct.
When Anakin was choking her, she said harder.
Oh.
And he was like, what? She said, what?
Yeah.
And then you just kept
It was
going.
hard to get her to see that. She was mouthing it.
Yeah. Harder. And he really had no idea. What?
Yeah. That's why he didn't know why Obi-Wan was so mad, because they practiced that all the time in the bedroom.
Obi-Wan and Padme?
Well...
Or Anakin
and Padme.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Promise to choke.
Yeah. All right. So.
Well, good job. You got that one pretty quick.
Yeah. That one wasn't too bad.
It's up to you to give me a character. You already got one in mind?
I do.
Okay. I'm going to say, is this character male or female?
Male.
It's a male.
Yes.
Is the character force sensitive?
No.
It's a male. It's not force sensitive. Is this character from the movies?
Yeah. Yes, and
also appeared in some animation. Okay. Did this character exist in the prequel trilogy only? Or at all, I guess I should say?
A little.
Okay. Was this character in any of the other time periods?
Yes.
The other eras?
Yes.
Okay. They're more prominently known for the original trilogy?
Yes.
Okay. A male, non-force sensitive character that did appear a little bit in the prequels, but was mostly from the original trilogy?
Yes. I don't want to steer you wrong.
Okay.
I don't remember if it was... I think it was a deleted scene, though.
Okay. In the
original,
okay. In the original?
Sorry.
In the prequels.
Prequels.
Okay, that's what I thought you meant.
My bad.
I know you enough to know what you meant when you said the exact opposite. All right, so male, non-force sensitive. Is this character considered a good guy or a bad guy?
Bad guy.
Okay. Is this character a member of the Empire?
No. Was
this character on Tatooine?
Yes.
And he's human. Is this character a bounty hunter?
No, he is not human.
Oh, I never asked.
You never asked, but we'll count that. That's not human.
Okay, he's
alien.
not. He's an alien.
Yes.
Is he really big and chubby?
Nope.
Is he on Tatooine?
Yes.
Is he a bounty hunter?
Yes.
Is it Bosk?
No.
I mean, we're counting clones as humans, right?
Huh?
Is it,
yeah.
Okay,
Clones would be considered humans. Yes.
So it's an alien who was on Tatooine, primarily known for the original trilogy, who's a bounty hunter.
Yes.
Is it Dengar?
No.
Oh.
Well, I guess he's a bounty hunter, right?
Dengar. Oh, you're.
No, I'm talking about my guy.
Uh-oh. Was he on the bridge that Darth Vader hired him to go find Luke
No.
in episode
No,
1?
I don't think. I think he's just. He's not a bounty hunter. He's like I guess an enforcer.
Is he a Twi'lek? Was he in Jabba's palace at all?
Theoretically. We never saw him in Jabba's palace.
Okay. He's an alien. Was he in all 3 of the original trilogy movies?
Just episode 4.
Just episode 4. Is this an obscure character?
Not really. Everybody knows him. We both know him very well.
Okay.
Yeah, he wasn't a bounty hunter. I don't think. Now you got me all weird.
Oh.
No, he was an enforcer.
But he was considered a bad guy.
He was like the money getter.
I don't know why I'm drawing such a blank here.
He had contact with one of the main cast.
I mean...
For a split second. By a split second, I mean like roughly 3 minutes. Now you got me wondering, was he... I don't think he was.
I'm trying to think of who... but you said he's in Jabba's palace, but we don't see him there. I'm trying to think of where we see him then. Was he in the cantina?
Yes.
Okay. So then...
Oh, he was a bounty hunter, yes.
I
thought so, but then you had me all weird.
Is he one of the... he's an alien, he's in the cantina.
You're thinking too hard.
Is it Greedo?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, man.
For some reason,
why did that take me so long?
I was pretty
to
sure
get to
he was
Greedo?
the bounty hunter.
Yeah,
but then I was like, wait,
sure.
But he was like, I knew he was working for Jabba, and Jabba hired bounty hunters. But then I was like, or was he like just Jabba's enforcer at the time?
Right.
So like that really like.
It kind of.
Like I started thinking about it a little bit too much. I was like, yeah, he's a bounty hunter. I was like, wait, no.
No. The
not.
whole thing was supposed to be that Jabba put the price out on Han.
Right.
So Greedo was there to collect that.
Gotcha.
Because he never paid
Jabba
Jabba back in time.
Yeah.
So he absolutely bounty hunter for sure, 100%. That was pretty good. I don't know why it took me so long to get to Greedo. That was good.
Because you remember in Phantom Menace and that there's
one deleted scene where he's a kid.
Him and Anakin were fighting.
Yeah.
And the
it's
other
baby
Rodian,
Greedo.
yeah, the other one was like something Greedo, or whatever, and we were like, Oja!
I think like Qui-Gon says something to him. He's
they
like,
were fighting, and he was
you better keep your attitude, or that's gonna hurt you down the road, or something. Your hot temper is gonna be the end of you.
Yeah,
it's some dumb joke.
Sure was.
All right, well that was more tough than I expected. I'm gonna give you a chance. I got another one here for you, bud.
Okay.
See what you got.
Right.
I got my character ready for you.
Ready for you? Oh, for me.
Yeah.
Male or female?
It's male.
Oh boy.
It's your boy.
Part of the main cast?
Yeah.
Okay. Originals?
No.
Sequels?
No.
Prequels?
No.
Okay. So, show.
Is
it
show.
Live action or animated?
Animated show.
Animated show, part of the main cast. Clone Wars?
The era kind of transcends 2 periods.
Between Clone Wars and Rebels?
Yes.
Force sensitive?
No.
Clone?
The character is a clone.
Okay. Does he have amnesia?
I do love Gregor, but no, it's not Gregor.
Okay.
The character does not have amnesia.
Well, if he's just in that, it wouldn't be Rex. He doesn't do any live action, even the.
He's never appeared in live action of anything, no.
Is it Wolf?
It is not. Also, to clarify, when you said like it transitions from Clone Wars to Rebels, not the TV shows, but like those time periods ish.
Oh.
Okay. So don't focus too much on the TV shows.
Oh.
Neither of those are the TV shows.
But it is a clone?
It is a clone.
Is it in Bad Batch?
It's from Bad Batch.
Is it part of the main Bad Batch?
It's one of the Bad Batch, yeah.
Is it Hunter?
Yeah.
Okay. I was thinking you would either pick
you
Hunter or
didn't even
Tech, or
clarify
Hunter
down. You got to Hunter right away.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good job.
Thank you. I as soon as I said Hunter, I was like, it's going to be Echo because you like Echo.
I do love Echo. I thought it might throw you off.
Yeah, it almost did. When I said Hunter, I wanted to be like, oh no. But yeah, you got it. That was good. Okay. Cool.
Nice. All right.
That's my whole thing is like, there's times when I don't answer questions. I just jump to the character, and like 90% of the time I'm right, but sometimes
when you
I'm
jump
not even
straight
close.
to it, that's pretty cool.
It's bad because it's like I want to ask more questions, but then part of me like it's like that like I don't have a blocker for it. It's just like it just jumps out.
I love it. Okay.
All right.
Have you got another one for me?
I do.
Is it a male or female?
Male.
Is it a force sensitive user?
No.
Okay. Is it a human?
Yes.
Okay.
Good one.
Gonna get that out early this time. Human, male, non-force sensitive. Is this somebody who originated in movies?
Yes.
Okay. Do they stick to one era?
Yes.
Of the movies?
Yes.
Original trilogy?
No.
Clone Wars?
Before that.
Before Clone Wars?
Yes. Not the original, not Clone Wars. Just before the Clone Wars. Which would be Phantom Menace.
Okay. I just meant Clone Wars era. That was confusing to me. Yeah, I should have said prequel trilogy.
My bad.
No,
Sorry.
It's not. It's called the prequel trilogy.
Right.
I don't know why I didn't say that. It's not your bad at all. It's 100% because I called it something
15 years before that.
I'm like, what other movie is it? All right, so we're in Phantom Menace. It's a good guy? I'm sorry.
Yes, good guy.
Okay.
Yep.
Non-Jedi. Do we see him on Tatooine?
Actually, yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Do we see him on Naboo?
Yes.
Is he a member of a guard?
Yes.
Is it Captain Panaka?
It sure is. Ding, 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 ding.
Nice.
Good job. That was a quick one.
That was cool. Cool. Okay.
I don't know why I like Captain Panaka.
I love Panaka. Why does everyone... He's so great. Also, what's the knee-jerk reaction? Panaka versus Typho. Which one's better?
In my opinion?
Just for no reason.
Panaka.
It's always Panaka,
Yeah.
right?
I don't have anything wrong with Typho.
Yeah, but Panaka's the guy. He's the man.
We saw Panaka do a lot. He led one of the battalions. He was all about trying to get everything right. And we only saw Typho for the first little bit, and he was like,
but he got the cooler eye patch. Like you'd think that would make him more likable, but
yeah.
I don't like him. I don't know. All right, you get the choice on this. You want like a hard tier difficulty?
What tiers do you got?
Oh man, all that's left is medium and hard.
Let's do medium, and then we'll do hard, I guess.
All right. I could also be super wrong. So
is your hard Legends?
No. I don't have any.
Let's just do hard then.
I don't have any. Okay.
Let's just go hard.
All right. Well, I got the character ready for you to guess.
Male or female?
Male.
Human?
No.
Alien?
Yeah.
Movies?
Yes.
And shows?
To my knowledge, no. He might have appeared in something animated as like a Easter egg,
but strictly movies,
not
pretty much.
Certain.
Okay. Original series?
Yes.
Just original?
Yes.
Do we see him a lot or just a little bit?
Obscure character.
Background character, for the most part.
Yeah.
Do we? Okay. Good guy, bad guy.
He's neutral. He's not on any side. He's an obscure character.
Okay. Do we see him in the cantina?
Not in the cantina.
Do we see him in episode 4?
No.
Okay. Oh, this is gonna be a tough one.
You get it. You're actually kind of dancing around it weirdly, I think.
Is he in episode 5?
Yeah.
Just episode 5?
Yeah.
Is he on Hoth? Well, you said he's neutral.
He's not on Hoth.
Was he on Bespin? Cloud City?
He's not in Cloud City. I think he's in episode 6.
So 3 questions don't matter at this point.
What's
Episode 6 was the barge.
Yeah, he's in.
Was
Yeah,
he on the
yeah, he's in
barge?
episode 6. Yeah.
Was he on Tatooine?
He happens to be on the barge. Yeah.
Just the barge?
Yep. I mean, well, it explodes.
Well,
So.
I'm just making sure you're not making it Lando's his little sneaky guy. Is it oh, okay. Is it who I think it is?
Probably. I don't know.
Does he work with Jabba?
He was hired by Jabba to be on the barge.
And you said it was. I'm sorry. It was alien.
Alien.
Was he small?
He's kind of small. It's not who you think it is.
Okay,
Now
okay,
that you say that,
okay.
he's not. He's smaller than a human. He's not that small. He's not a monkey lizard.
That's what I was gonna ask.
That guy wasn't hired by
That's what I thought.
Jabba.
He was stolen by Jabba. He was just picked up and put in his... Okay, so he's smaller than a human. He's an alien.
Huh?
Neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Does he play music?
Oh, he plays music.
Now I gotta think about who else in the band. Is it? Does he play the round circle piano thing?
Yeah.
I forgot his name.
Oh.
The blue guy. It looks like a little elephant.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding.
I do remember that. You remember his name all the time, and it's crazy to me.
That's awesome.
Fun fact: I have him as an action figure too.
You have him as an action figure? You should know his name then.
I know, but I got him when I was a kid.
That's Max Rebo.
That's right, Max
Rebo.
Rebo.
Oh man, that's really, really funny.
He was
I think
he was all through
appeared
episode
somewhere
6.
else.
He was in Jabba's palace in the extended cut when they did the
Yeah,
band.
and I couldn't remember
like
if they
the
were.
big lip lady that was singing the song.
Yeah.
He was behind her.
And I
playing
couldn't
the
remember
music.
if he was in the scene where they added her.
I do
or
think
not.
he was in one of the animateds.
I
But
thought
I don't
he
think
was
it
in-
was him. I think it was
another of his
another
species?
Yeah. It
I
might
couldn't-
not have
I
been.
couldn't
It
really
might have been in
remember.
the Clone Wars, which is obviously before that. I don't know, but I could be wrong. But I want to say him or a species was.
Gotcha. Well, it was pretty fun. We each got 2. Got them nailed down, so that was pretty cool. Or did we each get 3? Max Rebo.
No, that was only 2 because you
Padme.
did Greedo and Panaka.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that?
Yeah. So that's a decent spot to stop for
Okay.
now, time wise. So
Okay.
I think that'll be cool.
Well, maybe we'll come back through and do this again.
Yeah, I like this one. It's pretty cool,
Yeah.
and it's a tried and true one that we used to play all the time. So it
Yeah.
feels good to me.
It does. We haven't played it in a long time, so
Yeah, I know it was
I
cool to
enjoy
get
it.
back into it. But you, I think you're much better at this than me. You always grab them pretty quick.
some of them take me a minute. So
That was cool. I enjoyed playing it with you. Thanks for playing.
Thank you.
Enjoying it.
Yeah.
But I think it's time for another little break,
Okay.
and then we can jump into the draft.
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks. All right. Thanks for joining us for the last segment of the show. We're going to be doing one of our drafts that we always do here, but we're mixing it up a good bit today. We're calling this one Champions of the Force. And the whole point of this draft is going to be kind of like a collection, essentially, of the drafts that we've already done up to this point. So this one's going to go for 6 rounds, and what we're doing is the pool of things that we have to choose from is going to be 1 each from the episodes we've already done.
Yes.
So we're kind of going to be a little bit more competing on this one maybe than even normal, because
Yeah.
we are going to potentially be stealing each other's picks that we've used previously and stuff like that, depending on what you might like better. So this might be the most important dice roll that we've had.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah, let's see what color you think. For now on, you always have to use that dice since it was the first one to ever work for me. That's the new rule.
I'm gonna pick blue.
So I still get
You
the
still
chance
get
to
red.
I got red last time and won. Well, it was short-lived, folks. He got blue.
At least you got that one though.
I got.
That gotta make you feel good. A little bit.
All right. Well,
Still blue, so it doesn't.
you're gonna get the first overall pick here in an interesting draft. So you get to tell me. Do you have any idea what you're going for here?
I've been thinking about it. I do think that I'm going to go ahead and go big.
Okay.
And so I think I'm going to do the ATTE. I
Oh.
think we'll go ahead and just start with that.
Okay, he's gonna get a tank right off the bat.
Yeah.
Okay. So ATTE, were you scared I was going to take that off the board?
A little bit, because you know how much I enjoy those.
Yeah. So your favorite tank from the Clone Wars era is going to be in your fight for sure.
Yep.
So the little bit of strategy to this is that now for you, the tanks are off the board.
Yes.
So I still need to fill that tank slot, but realistically,
you don't have to.
You can makes more sense for me to go pick something else in this spot.
Right.
I can save tank for later since you're now not going to steal anything else from the tank category. I think I want to go with a spaceship. I think that's my biggest concern in making sure I get something I really want in this fight. So my first pick is going to be the Slave 1 from when we did our Starship draft.
Okay.
I think I'd be really sad if I didn't get that bad boy to start out in some kind of a fight. So I'm going to go with that one.
Okay. All right, so that's good. So then my second choice.
Also, while you're pondering, I guess I will mention real quick that our categories from our previous episodes that we are picking from. The first one was beasts that we did.
Yes.
Then we did droids. We did starships. We did bounty hunters. We did ground vehicles. And then we closed out last week with clones.
Yes.
So those are the picks that we're choosing from.
Correct.
So
with
now that you've taken your ground vehicle,
I'm going to go ahead and pick my clone.
Okay.
So for my clone, I'm going to go ahead and pick Captain Rex.
Yeah, that's really good. I didn't know if I would get Captain Rex away from you or not. If I had the opportunity, I definitely would have gotten Rex, but I was really worried about losing a starship I wanted. So
yeah, I was debating on going with big, like something either big again, but then I was like, I don't want to. I mean, granted, there's all the clones in there I like, so it doesn't really matter. But
yeah,
Rex is my top dog. So
that's a really good spot to be at. It's a good choice. Respect it fully. I think I might just get my first steal on you then.
Okay.
Technically, because it's one you've already done, and it pairs really well with my Slave 1. I will have none other than on the ground, Jango Fett.
And now I'm ready to go. Thank you, everybody, for.
So I jumped over to the bounty hunters when they're on the ground. So I guess I'm gonna say that adult Boba Fett's flying my Slave 1 while Jango Fett's on the ground. I don't know how this is working, but in my alternate reality, it's gonna be fine. Don't question it.
Yeah. That was a good pick, though.
Oh, thanks.
That was the bounty hunter I was gonna go with. So good job.
Yeah, I did steal one.
All right, so then for my next pick, which will be number 3.
Yep.
I'm gonna go ahead and do like animals, creatures.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go ahead and get the big old Zillo beast.
Ooh, nice. I was gonna do that next. I was. So that's pretty interesting. Good job.
Thank you, sir.
You going first on this one was useful for you, I think.
I mean, even if I went second, I think you still would have stole. I think you would have played your game completely different with your picks.
Maybe. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would have tried to get Rex from you for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So.
Okay, so you've gone ATTE,
Yep.
Rex, and Zillo Beasts.
Yes.
I so far have the Slave 1 and Jango Fett.
Yes.
So, I think I'm going to play a little bit of gamesmanship here. And this is probably weird. But I think I'm going to pick R2-D2 from our droids.
Okay. That's cool.
That's going to be...
Who's going to pilot the Slave 1?
I mean, he could. There's so many things he could do.
Yeah.
You know, he's so unpredictable. It's R2-D2, man.
You're not wrong.
He could do a lot of things. Oh, there he is. He's big and
Lego-y.
On our desk. Yeah, you got a nice new Lego figure on our desk.
That was cool. My sister got me that, so I was very thankful.
That's pretty awesome.
So.
That's nice.
All right. Well, so with your droid pick of R2-D2.
Yeah. How long did that take you to build? The R2D2 Lego.
It was like 3.5 hours, 4 hours. It would have been a little bit faster, but the last Lego I was doing, I completely I left an entire piece out and I put it all together and it snapped together and everything. And I was like, man, this is weird. What's this for? And I looked and I was like, oh my gosh. So I had to take his leg completely apart and do it all again. It didn't. The leg was like the easiest part, but it was still a pain in the butt.
That's how we build IKEA furniture in my house.
I don't even.
When you're done, you're like, what? I have 7 more screws. Oh well.
Oops.
What's this piece of wood? No one knows.
Yeah, that sounds about right, to be honest.
All right, bud. So you're back on the clock here for number 4.
Yeah, so I will go ahead and I'll do droids too. I'm gonna do the. I'm gonna do the Hut War droid.
Oh, okay. Okay. Nice.
I think they're cool.
I'll mark you down for that. This is one that you told me quite a bit about when we did the that particular episode for that draft.
Yeah.
And one that I didn't know much about. So
yeah, they had. I mean, they were the big what was it the rifles on each arm. They had like a shield. They had ridiculous armor.
Yeah.
And they were used mainly for like enforcers, the war droids to do turf wars and anything else. So.
They just look insanely powerful too. Like when I saw the pictures of them too and stuff and what they look like, they're pretty beastie. So it's a good choice. All right, so that's a good spot. I'm gonna go up to animals now that I'm back to that spot.
Okay.
Or creatures or beasts. And I'm gonna pick a crate dragon.
I figured that was probably going to be your choice between that or Zillo Beast.
Yeah, I really like Rancors a lot, but I think if you were to pit individually a crate dragon against a Rancor, I think the crate dragon wins.
The crate dragon, the crate dragon would eat the Rancor.
I think so, and like
the
Rancor's so iconic, but like. I guess against a person, yeah, they're terrifying. Yeah. But if these creatures are fighting each other, but I also think a Zillo Beast is going to tear up a crate dragon.
I think it would be pretty neck to neck. The only good thing about the Zillo Beast is they have like armor plate. Like their scales is an armor plate.
Yeah.
So like it would be harder to bite through. But if the crate dragon, like with Mandalorian, came out of the dune and grabbed a hold of the Zillo Beast and was able to like push him into the sand,
maybe.
I don't know. Like it would be like a drowning effect, but worse.
I think, like if the crate dragon on my list is fighting like your clone, he's probably going to do all right against a clone, even though it's Captain Rex.
Well, it's one.
But
clone.
like a Zillo Beast could swat the slave one out of the air if the slave one's low enough. Like those things are huge.
Right.
So I think Zillo Beast pretty great choice.
Okay, thank you.
What I'm getting at.
I appreciate that.
But back to number 5 there, bud.
Number 5, I'm going to go ahead and do a ship, and. So many ships that I love.
Yeah, there are.
I like my ships, but I am going to do the ARC 170.
Are you? Okay.
From the Clone Wars, yeah.
Okay.
It's got the 2 pilots and the tail gunner, so that's one of my favorite ships, So, but it was a hard toss up between that and a B-wing.
I know that's your favorite ship, the ARC 170, but
you can't beat a slave one.
If Jango Fett's coming at you in the slave one or Boba Fett,
oh yeah,
you're in an ARC 170. What are your chances?
I feel like it would be like, I don't know. I mean, obviously in lore, Jango Fett and Boba Fett would win. But like, if you think about it, like the ARC 170, you have a tail gunner, so if you get behind them, you're going to get hit. If you go behind them in the rear, you're going to get hit. If you go below, though, like coming up from the bottom, they don't have any type of weapon defense.
We don't think about 3 dimensions in space.
That's true.
It's only
front and back and maybe the top.
Unless you're in that one Star Trek movie, but don't worry about that.
That's true. Anyway, I don't know. Like in my mind, I think it would be a pretty good fight between the two.
Yeah.
But I do think that Jango would probably win.
Yeah, I don't. In my mind, I just don't see any way. I know I picked it, but I don't see any way he don't win. Jango's gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Boba Fett's gonna kill him.
But if you think about it, it's like the ARC 170 probably the best one to do. Well, that and the Millennium Falcon, but we're also. I mean, well, I was going to say we're staying in the same time period because I'm thinking about Jango, but the Slave One was in. Slave One was in both eras.
Yeah.
So
yeah. True.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, I've got my 5th pick here, and Let's see. I've got so far Slave 1,
Yep.
the Starship. I've got a Bounty Hunter for Jango Fett. I got a Droid, R2D2, and a Beast with Great Dragon.
Yes.
So I need a ground vehicle and I need a clone.
Yes.
I am gonna go with the clone, and I'm gonna switch slightly from what I had on my actual clone draft,
Okay.
and I think I'm gonna pick Echo. There's just so much about Echo. The more that we were talking about him near the tail end of our draft,
Yeah.
obviously I really like Gregor. And,
You do,
and he's great, but like Echo's so much more important to the show. He
Yeah.
does so much, and I think versatility. Well, I gotta pick Echo. Which now I'm doing the dumb thing and I'm picking more for personal favorite versus in a combat situation.
Well, I mean, look at me. Everything
Man.
I picked was because
Your
they're
favorite,
my favorite.
not necessarily.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but you still have great stuff. But I don't know, because Gregor's got the amnesia problem still. Like, maybe he's not the best in fighting. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's going to get confused, and he's going to start shooting R2-D2 thinking he's a separatist. Droid!
That's true. That's true. I forgot about
He's
that.
like, "Ah!"
Just Archie running away.
It's not good for my team.
2 of your people are going to be off on the side fighting their own battle.
Right. So now I think Echo, he could help out.
Yeah, Echo's a good choice. And you like Echo a lot. I mean,
I
it's
do.
hard to really get rid of him. Okay, so the last thing I need is a bounty hunter.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to take one of your picks off
Oh.
of that.
Okay.
There's so many good ones in there, and
We had a good bounty hunter
I had
list.
Aura Singh last time, and I love her. I
Yeah,
had
you
Dirge last time. I love him. He's just cool. He's big. He's bad. Imbo. He's cool.
We always like
You know
Imbo
what I
for
mean?
no reason.
But I'm gonna pick Cad Bane.
Cad Bane's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like that pick. When you picked him on that week, I was like, oh crap. I didn't think about it. Well, I mean, I did. He was on my list, but I didn't.
I got him before
You got him.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna take that one off of yours. And
That's great.
he's just bad, dude.
He's awesome. He's also been in so many fights, situations in the shows and stuff where he was outnumbered.
Yes.
I think he'd be great in an arena.
I agree.
He's one who unlike a sniper, who might be fine if you're really far away,
Right.
but like if you're in an arena fighting situation,
Yeah.
you are gonna get close quarters combat pretty quickly.
Agreed. Yeah.
So I think that's the right choice for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Cad Bane's cool.
Yeah.
He's also just like a dude, man.
Yeah.
Cad Bane is awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think that you get his little droid companion guy, the little guy that flies around with him? That he doesn't do a whole lot for combat,
No,
but he's like
he's just
part
there.
of Cad Bane, right?
He's a smart mouth, dude. That's all he is.
I think he's there.
I think he would be there. He'd be hovering around the whole
Yeah.
time, just criticizing
Oh,
Cad
look
on
out behind
everything.
you missed again.
Yeah, I think he'd be handing Cad Bane his toothpicks. So
I love it. Yeah, absolutely.
he would definitely be with him.
That's cool. That's cool. Nice. Well, those are a pretty good piece. I think to close out mine, I'm going to go with another one from your list.
Okay.
I'm going to grab, I have the ground vehicles left.
Yes.
I'm going to go with the Hailfire droid.
Okay.
I think that
What a good way to
will
counter the ATT.
help me destroy your ATT.
Yeah.
If I can open with that, I might be in a good spot
Yeah.
to win this battle. But I don't know. I think you're. We both have some pretty strong like positives and negatives to this one.
Yeah.
So like officially, you have the ATTE. You've got Captain Rex, the Zillow Beast, a Hutt War Droid, the Arc 170, and Cad Bane. Whereas I've got the Slave 1, Jango Fett, R2-D2, the Crate Dragon, Echo, and a Hailfire droid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, pretty interesting one to actually see these ones compete against each other would be pretty
Yeah.
wild. But
Could you imagine being at an arena like watching this fight and you got all these people down low, and then just Slave 1 and Arc 170s over top of you,
They're just flying
dropping
over.
stuff.
Man, I hope that the arena is big enough to accommodate them.
It would definitely just be out in the sky, like
Yeah,
over
yeah.
the top of
Those are the
arena.
only two. They're up in space.
Yeah.
Just they're in a
Well, they could just
one-on-one
be in that. I
dogfight.
mean, they could just be right above you, like in the atmosphere, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it would be crazy. It
I
would
think
be cool to watch.
I definitely think like your I keep forgetting the name, but the Hutt War Droid
Yeah.
that you have, like that thing can devastate a lot of vehicles at the same time. Like you could push back infantry and attack tanks
Yeah.
and stuff. Like that thing's
The only thing is though, like with the Hellfire droid, and we talked about this last time, was that they are fast. Like they're
Yeah, they're
designed to be
surprisingly
quick,
quick,
and they can
yeah.
turn on a dime and all this stuff. So it's like,
I don't know.
Trying to fight a droid, I mean, like a heavy artillery droid or anything, or just a heavily equipped droid, they all turn really slow.
Right.
Like in everything we ever see. And so we've never seen a war droid like in anything to watch
like
them fight. So we don't know if they're
movie
fast or slow. But in my mind, they're probably not the quickest when it comes to rotating and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like your Hellfire droid just does circles around my team, and it's like, okay, well,
maybe
this is going to be a pain.
Might be.
You know, especially if you take out the ATTE. Like if that was like your first missile, just right. You know, just like in episode 2.
That's my goal. Yeah.
I mean, that would really cripple.
But if your first goal is to take out the Hellfire droid with the Zillo Beasts, I mean, he could just swat it once if he hits it.
With his tail, dude.
He's a little slower than it, but if he hits it at all, it's gone.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This would be a pretty compelling actual fight to watch.
I think it'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish we knew. We need to know animators. That's what we need to know.
Oh, we probably could find one.
No, that's too much.
No. Well, cool. Well, that was a good one. I had fun with that. So, but all right. Well, thank you guys for stopping in and checking us out and listening to us. Be sure to hop over to Facebook, check us out, and vote on the poll for this week. Pretty good one. Big mashup there for the last 6 episodes. So,
yeah, cool.
But once again, we really appreciate you, and as always, may the laughs be with you.
Take care. Thanks.